He said it with a smile, like it was the easiest thing in the world. 6 months and you'll have your green card. I wanted to believe him so badly that I ignored every instinct screaming at me not to. My name is Mariana. I was 23 when I left El Salvador. Not because of war or disaster, but because there was nothing left for me there. I wanted something more than survival. I wanted space to breathe. He found me online through a Facebook group where women shared information about work opportunities in the US. His name was Derek. He said he was looking for someone to care for his mother. Room and board provided, help with immigration papers, a future. He sounded kind. The pictures of the house looked clean, quiet, rich. There was a woman in a wheelchair smiling in the background. I thought that was her. I thought that was real. He offered to pay for my bus ride if I reimbursed him later. He even sent money for travel expenses. It felt like a miracle. A stranger who wanted to help. A door opening. My father didn't like it. He told me, "You don't know this man." I told him, "I don't know what else to do." That was the truth. I left before sunrise and didn't say goodbye to my younger siblings. I couldn't bear the weight in their eyes. The ride took 4 days. I barely slept. I didn't eat much. My stomach was a knot of fear and hope twisting together. When I arrived at the Texas station, Derek was waiting, clean shaven, well-dressed, smiling. He drove a nice car. He held the door for me. He asked if I was hungry. He said I looked even prettier than in my profile picture. I didn't know if that was a compliment or a setup. I smiled anyway. The house was big. 2 stories, white walls, shutters, a porch swing. It looked like something out of a commercial. I thought, maybe this will work. Maybe this is the beginning of something good. Inside, the house was spotless. No signs of a mother. No wheelchair. I asked where she was. He said she was in a facility, temporarily, recovering from surgery. "You'll meet her soon," he said. He showed me the guest room. Fresh sheets, a small desk, a lamp. It smelled like lavender. He gave me towels, a toothbrush still in its package, and told me to rest. I felt safe enough to sleep that night. The first week went well. I cooked. I cleaned. He thanked me. He bought groceries. He gave me a cheap phone with limited minutes and said, "Only for emergencies." He mentioned he was talking to an immigration lawyer. I believed him. Then the rules began. Don't go outside alone. Don't open the blinds. Don't talk to neighbors. People are suspicious, he said. They'll ask questions you're not ready to answer. I nodded, unsure but obedient. He asked for my passport to start the legal process, he said. I hesitated. He laughed softly and said, "Don't you trust me?" I handed it over with shaking hands. I told myself it was just paperwork. By the end of the second week, the front door was always locked. He had the only key. I asked for one. He smiled and said, "You don't need it. You're safe here." The way he said safe made my stomach clench. He started calling me his little wife. He said it as a joke, then said it again the next day, then again when he touched my lower back while I cooked. I didn't laugh. He noticed. That night, he knocked on my door. I didn't answer. He came in anyway. He didn't touch me. He just stood in the doorway and stared. "You're lucky to be here," he whispered. Then he walked away. The next morning, my door was locked from the outside. I waited for him to unlock it. He did, but said nothing. He just watched me walk to the kitchen, then followed me with his eyes while I scrubbed the counter. A week passed. Then 2, then 3. I lost track of the days. I stopped checking the calendar on the fridge. I ate when he told me to. I cleaned what he pointed at. I existed in the corners of the house. He worked from home sometimes. Other days he left 4 hours and locked the door behind him. He turned off the Wi-Fi, took the emergency phone. I was alone with the walls. I started talking to myself, just to hear a voice. There were cameras. I noticed one in the hallway, then another above the kitchen sink. "Security," said when I asked. "We can't be too careful." I nodded, then avoided looking at the ceilings. I tried to open a window once. It was sealed shut. I didn't try again. He began controlling my food. "Too much rice makes you sluggish," he said. He started portioning my meals, said I should be grateful. "I'm keeping you healthy. You don't know how to take care of yourself here." I believed him for a while. That's the worst part. I believed him. I started hearing things. footsteps that weren't there, doors creaking when no one touched them. I thought maybe the house was haunted, but then I realized it was just my mind echoing itself. Sometimes I'd catch myself standing still for 20 minutes, staring at nothing. I stopped trying to remember what day it was. I stopped looking at clocks. Time didn't pass. It pressed down. One day, while dusting his office bookshelf, I bumped into a drawer that slid open slightly. Inside was a cracked iPhone. Old, dusty, forgotten. I looked over my shoulder 3 times before turning it on. It took a while to boot. The screen flickered. There were only 2 saved contacts. One was labeled Mom. The other was Michelle. I didn't know who she was, but I had nothing left to lose. I typed, "Hi, my name is Mariana. I'm in Derek's house. Please help me." I waited 10 minutes, 20. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the phone. I was about to give up when a message popped up. "Are you safe? Where are you exactly?" I almost cried from the sound of another voice. I typed back everything I could remember about the neighborhood, the gate, the number on the mailbox, the fake name on the Wi-Fi router. Her next message made my heart stop. "I know where you are. I was there too." She said her name was Michelle, that she had lived in that same house, that he'd done similar things to her. "Not as bad," she wrote, "but close. She had escaped 2 years ago." She still had a GPS ping from that phone. He had never disconnected it from her account. She said she was calling the police. "Stay quiet, stay calm. Don't let him know you found this." I hid the phone under my mattress. I cleaned the house, as usual. I smiled when he came home. I nodded when he talked about the weather. I swallowed my fear like poison, slowly, carefully. The next morning, Derek looked at me longer than usual. His eyes narrowed. "You seem different," he said. I forced a smile and told him I had a headache. He watched me stir his coffee in silence. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every car outside sounded like sirens. Every creak in the walls felt like betrayal. I kept replaying Michelle's words in my head. "Stay calm, help is coming." Then it happened. 3 loud knocks. Police. Someone yelled from the front door. The house erupted into chaos. Derek ran down the stairs. I heard a drawer opened. Something slammed. A back door creaked. I didn't move. I crouched behind the washing machine, hands over my mouth. I heard footsteps, shouting, the crack of a door being kicked in. A man's voice. "Mariana, are you here?" I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I was frozen. A flashlight beam swept across the floor and stopped on me. "It's okay," the officer said. "You're safe now." Michelle was standing on the lawn when they led me out. Her face was pale. Her hands trembled. She reached for mine but stopped just short, as if afraid I'd break. I cried into her shoulder anyway. They wrapped me in a blanket, asked me questions I couldn't answer. My voice cracked. My body shook. My knees gave out. They brought me to the hospital where a nurse told me I was severely A counselor came to speak with me. She said I qualified for a special kind of visa for victims of crimes. It would take months, maybe longer, but I could stay. I didn't believe it at first. Michelle took me home. Her home. She lived in a small apartment over a bakery. It smelled like cinnamon and old wood. I slept on her couch. She made soup every night. She never left me alone. I didn't speak for the first 3 days. She didn't ask questions. She just sat nearby, knitting, humming softly. When I woke up crying, she'd sit on the edge of the couch and rub my back. One night, I whispered, "Thank you." She smiled without looking up and said, "I just wish someone had done this for me." We went to the immigration lawyer together. The office was filled with posters that said things like, "You are not alone and your voice matters." I didn't believe those words yet, but I wanted to. The lawyer was kind. She listened, took notes, asked questions. I told her everything. Every hour in that house, every locked door, every quiet cry. She told me I had a strong case. The application process was long. Forms, questions, interviews, proof. Michelle helped me find documents online. We found a receipt for the bus ticket he had sent. Photos I had saved, messages I'd screenshotted. I hated reliving it, but I needed to. I wanted anyone to understand how deep the trap had been, how hard it was to climb out. The nightmares didn't stop. I'd wake up gasping, sweating, hearing Derek's voice, even though he was long gone. I kept dreaming of locked doors, of footsteps approaching, of him whispering my name. Michelle taught me to breathe through it, to write when I couldn't sleep. She gave me a notebook with butterflies on the cover and said, "Start here." I started writing at night, when the nightmares were worst. Just a few lines at first, then full paragraphs. I wrote what I remembered. I wrote what I felt. I wrote because it made the fear feel smaller. Michelle read one of my entries. She said, "You should share this." I shook my head, but she insisted, "Someone out there is where you were. Maybe your words will get her out." I created a blog under a fake name, posted one entry. He promised me a green card. I didn't expect anyone to read it, but they did. Within a week, I had comments, emails, messages. They said, "That happened to me too," or "I thought I was crazy," or "I've never told anyone this before." For the first time, I didn't feel alone. My pain had an echo, and it echoed back. 3 months after I left the house, I got a job cleaning homes for cash. The family was kind. They didn't ask for papers. They paid fairly. They gave me leftovers to take home. I cried the first time. I saved every dollar, moved into a studio apartment with chip tiles and a leaky sink. I didn't care. It was mine. I bought a mattress, a second-hand lamp, a plant I named Luz. She's still alive. The visa was still pending. Everything was always pending. But I had things now: a key, a lock, a mug with my name on it, a window that opened, a door that stayed shut unless I wanted it open. I started walking in the mornings, just small loops around the block. Each step felt like rebellion. Each breath of free air was something I had earned. My body ached, but it felt like proof. I joined a support group at a nearby church. We met in a circle of folding chairs every Thursday. We told the truth out loud. We said our names. We cried without apologizing. That's where I met Clara. She had been promised a modeling contract in Miami. She ended up cleaning hotel rooms for a man who took her passport and used her tips to buy alcohol. We held each other's stories in our hands. I told her about Derek. She didn't flinch. She said, "They all have the same script, don't they?" We laughed. It was the first real laugh I had in over a year. It hurt in a beautiful way. Then one day, a journalist messaged me. She had found my blog. She wanted to hear my story. "Only if you're ready," she wrote. I wasn't, but I also was. I needed the world to know. We met in a cafe with big windows and quiet music. She asked questions gently. I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I cried, she passed me a napkin. That was all. No pity. The article was published 2 weeks later. Taito, she came for a green card. She escaped with her life. I couldn't breathe when I saw it trending. I wanted to disappear. But then the messages came. A girl in Arizona said she showed the article to her sister, who was living with a man she didn't trust. A woman in Georgia said she left her job and went to a shelter. A pastor in Nevada said he'd read it from the pulpit. Michelle cried when she read it. "This is why you survived," she said, "so someone else wouldn't have." I nodded, but the truth is I still don't know why I made it and others didn't. They never found Derek. There was a warrant, an investigation, but no trail. He vanished like smoke. Some nights I still think I see him in a crowd, a flash of his face,
the back of his head.
But then I breathe. I remind myself he's not here, that he can't lock another door, that I own every key in my life now. The fear visits sometimes, but it no longer moves in. I'm still waiting on my visa, still checking the mail like a child waiting for a birthday card. But whether it comes or not, I'm here. I'm free. I'm mine. That's more than I had 2 years ago. I teach English at the church now, just 2 nights a week. Mostly women. Some are scared to speak. I tell them that learning new words is a kind of freedom. I tell them that their voices matter. Sometimes they ask me why I'm not afraid to tell my story. I tell them because someone else needs to hear it. I tell them because silence is how men like him win. If you're listening to this, and someone has made you promises that feel too heavy if someone controls your food, your phone, your name, if someone says you're lucky to have them, don't believe it. You are not property. You are not a favor. You are not the debt someone collects when they think no one is watching. You are a person. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to get out. He promised me a green card in 6 months. What he gave me was a locked door, a silent scream, a cage with clean sheets. He said I was safe, but he meant I was stuck. He lied to me. But he didn't break me, and now I speak for the girl I was, for the girls still waiting, for the ones who didn't make it out. My name is Mariana. I survived him. I survived silence, and I'm never going back.